As spring arrives, the natural world awakens from winter's quiet grip. Trees bud, flowers bloom, and animals stir. But some of the season's most active players are the insects. With warmer temperatures and longer days, these small creatures emerge from dormancy, ready to feed, reproduce, and carry out their roles in the ecosystem. First up, bees, nature's tiny workaholics. After huddling in their hives all winter, surviving on honey like it's their personal pantry, spring flips a switch. By March, when temperatures hit around 10 degrees Celsius, they're out buzzing like they've had too much coffee. They've got this insane spring cleaning vibe. Worker bees start tossing out dead bees and debris from the hive, like a full-on purge. Some bees actually dance to tell their buddies where the best flowers are. It's called the waggle dance, and it's like GPS with a hip shake. Their queen ramps up egg laying from a few hundred a day in winter to thousands in spring. All because those early blooms, like crocuses and dandelions, give them the nectar boost they need. Without bees pollinating, spring wouldn't be half as colorful. Butterflies, such as the iconic monarchs and the striking painted ladies, also grace the landscape in spring, their delicate wings a signal of the season's arrival. The availability of nectar-rich flowers fuels their flight, providing the energy needed for their aerial displays and long journeys. The mild temperate weather of spring supports their fragile life cycle, offering conditions warm enough for activity, but not so harsh as to threaten their thin wings or developing young. Spring marks the start of their reproductive season, a critical time when adults seek out host plants specific to their species. Milkweed for monarchs, nettles or mallows for others, where they lay tiny, jewel-like eggs. Ladybugs, also known as ladybirds in some parts of the world, awaken in spring after a long winter spent in a state of dormancy, tucked away in nature's nooks and crannies. During the colder months, these small dome-shaped beetles seek refuge under the peeling bark of trees, beneath piles of fallen leaves, or within sheltered crevices like rock piles, or the eaves of buildings, clustering together to conserve heat and survive the chill. As spring arrives and temperatures climb, typically above 10 degrees Celsius, they stir from their slumber, their bright red and black spotted shells emerging into the sunlight. Driven by hunger, they become active and set out in search of aphids, scale insects, and other soft-bodied pests that thrive on the sap of tender new growth. Ants emerge from their underground nests in spring, shaking off the lethargy of winter to resume their bustling communal lives. During the colder months, these industrious insects enter a state of reduced metabolism, a survival strategy that allows them to conserve energy while huddled deep within their intricate tunnel systems, protected from frost and predators. As spring arrives and the soil warms, the colonies stir, their tiny bodies responding to the rising heat and the promise of renewal. They begin foraging for food, scouring the landscape for a diverse menu that includes seeds dropped by plants, crumbs left by careless picnickers, or the remains of other insects unfortunate enough to cross their path. Grasshoppers begin their life cycle in spring, emerging as the season breathed new life into the soil where their story paused the previous year. In the fall, adult females deposit clusters of eggs, sometimes dozens at a time, into the earth, using their specialized ovipositors to bury them in shallow pods just beneath the surface, where they remain dormant through the winter, insulated from freezing temperatures and harsh weather. As spring arrives and the ground warms, these eggs hatch into nymphs, miniature versions of their future selves, wingless but equipped with voracious appetites. These young insects immediately set to work feeding on tender new shoots, targeting the fresh, succulent growth of grasses, clover, and young crops that sprout in abundance with the season's rains and lengthening days. But why do flowers and insects appear together in spring? The emergence of these insects in spring is no coincidence. Rising temperatures signal the end of dormancy, whether they've been hibernating, overwintering as eggs, or simply waiting out the cold. As flowers unfurl their petals, think crocuses, daffodils, and cherry blossoms, they provide a lifeline for insects like bees and butterflies. Bees collect nectar and pollen to sustain their hives, inadvertently transferring pollen between flowers to enable plant reproduction. Butterflies, sipping nectar as they flit from bloom to bloom, perform a similar role. This mutual benefit, known as pollination, is no accident. Plants and insects have evolved together over millions of years, timing their cycles to coincide. The warmer weather and increased sunlight of spring trigger both the flowering of plants and the awakening of these pollinators, creating a synchronized burst of life. Other animals, like ladybugs, thrive as plant-eating pests emerge, further linking the fates of flora and fauna. This interdependence underscores the delicate balance of ecosystems, where the appearance of flowers and animals together isn't just a coincidence, it's a partnership essential to both. On March 20th, 2025, as spring unfolds, these insects are already at work, shaping the world around us. Bees pollinate, ladybugs protect, and even mosquitoes, though less welcome, play their part in the food web. Their return is a reminder of how interconnected life is, even at its smallest scale. When you step outside this spring, take a moment to notice these tiny inhabitants. They're as much a part of the season as the flowers and birdsong.